This is Join Us in France, episode 575. 575. Bonjour, I'm Annie Sargent, and Join Us in France is the podcast where we take a conversational journey through the beauty, culture, and flavors of France. Today, I bring you a conversation with Mali Arnstad about home exchange travel, a budget friendly, authentic way to explore France and beyond. With 14 years of experience, Mali shares how her family stays in local homes, cars and pets included sometimes, saves a lot of money, and lives more like a true local. If you've ever dreamed of swapping homes for a real French adventure, this episode is packed with tips, stories, and inspiration. And swapping homes is not the only way to do this, as you'll see. I must make it clear that this is not a sponsored episode in any way. This is just our opinion about a platform. They did not ask to be reviewed and they're not paying for this. But when I recorded this conversation with Mali, I always record far in advance because there's a lot of demand to come on the podcast. I hadn't yet signed up for home exchange, but now I have. So I've listed my apartment in Spain, which I've loaned out a couple of times already. And I've traveled in France now. I stayed at 4 home exchange places. So I'll tell you more about my experience in the magazine part of the podcast. This podcast is fueled by chocolatine, coffee, and the generosity of listeners like you. You book itinerary consults, take my voice map tours, you join the boot camp, which is full, by the way. Hop in my electric car or chip in on Patreon, and I'm so grateful for that. If you want to keep me going and skip the ads, there's a link for that in the show notes. And to purchase any of my services, you'll find everything at joinusinfrance.com/boutique. And thank you very much. Don't forget that all the links and full episode transcripts are always waiting for you on the episodes by month page at joinusinfrance.com/episodes. And if you want a handy summary of the conversation plus all the useful links, just subscribe to the newsletter at joinusinfrance.com/newsletter. It is the easiest way to keep everything at your fingertips. Definitely don't take notes while driving. Bonjour, Mali Arnstad, and welcome to Join Us in France.
Thank you. Bonjour, Annie.
Wonderful to see you. So, we are going to talk about something that has not, it's come up on the podcast before, but we have not delved into it very much, and that is home exchange.
Yes.
This is something you've done many times, 14 times, right?
Yes, we've done it for 14 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, tell us about it. Tell me what got you started in this, and how many times have you done this in France specifically?
I think it's just started because I heard about someone else doing it and we wanted to explore the option of home exchange.
Yeah.
And actually, we chose France as the first country to go in. I think it was just because we got an offering there
Right.
in Brittany.
I see. And you are from Norway, right?
Yes, yes, from the very north of Norway.
Wonderful. Okay. You got a place, you signed up because you have to pay a little bit, right?
It's about 150 euros a year to sign up to a website for doing the home exchange.
Right.
And then you just basically go on from there because you will connect with people that want to travel and want to exchange. And it's very common in France, actually. It's very popular in France.
Yeah, I looked just now before we started talking. I looked and it said that France had more than 10,000 possibilities.
Yes.
So if you're looking for a place in France, you're likely to find somewhere, not necessarily city center Paris, but perhaps there's some there too.
Absolutely. Actually, we've exchanged to Paris as well. You have opportunities in the whole country, really. Yeah, so we've been to France. I think we've exchanged there about 7 times. And then we've been to Italy, Spain, domestically Norway as well, and Belgium, and Sweden, and Denmark.
And Denmark, you're in Denmark now. You just told me you're in Denmark as we record this, which is also a beautiful country. So is Norway. I was in Norway, Denmark, a bit of Germany, and a bit of Sweden too. this summer, and wow, beautiful, especially Norway. Wow. And I should say that this episode is not sponsored by Home Exchange. I'm not getting any benefits for doing this. I just wanted to have you on because you reached out to me and you said, "Hey, I love traveling this way." And I agree with you. It's a great way to see another country because, there's a whole hype about, oh, be like a local.
Mm.
Well, that's being like a local because you're actually staying at somebody local's house.
Yes, exactly. And I think that is the beauty of home exchange is the local experience. Because you will live in maybe in the middle of a village or somewhere that's not necessarily a big city.
Mhm.
So you will have to explore what the immediate surroundings have to offer.
Right. And in your case, you've done exchanges where you let the people use your car as well, right?
Yes, because you have different types of exchange. You will have this simultaneously doing an exchange. Someone comes to my home and I go to the other person's home. And that often includes car as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So we do that. We try to do that always because obviously it's very cost effective to exchange cars.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not a car person, but we do this all the time with the dog sitters that we use, and we let them use our car. We've never had a problem.
No.
They just, they take care of it like it was their own, and it's not an issue. And even for the insurance, it doesn't cost me any extra. I just call the insurance and I say, somebody else is going to use my car for 2 weeks. Is that okay? And every time they say, no problem. The car is insured. No problem. So long as this person has a driver's license and is over 26. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. The other option for a home exchange is with guest points, it's called. That's when you go to someone else's place and they go to another place.
Right. So it's a three-way thing.
Yeah, you kind of pay. Well, it's not money, but you give them points and they are using these points to go somewhere else. And we do that quite a lot as well. We tend to prefer the simultaneous exchange because that is usually more interesting.
Uh-huh. Why? Why?
Just because you get to know the family a bit more and you will have all the local recommendations from the family. The family will leave an extensive set of recommendations for restaurants, for playgrounds, for beaches, for cafes, for things happening in the area. So you stay in close contact, obviously, and you stay in their home and they stay in your home. It's kind of intimate, but it's very nice. It's always people are, as a general term, they're always very nice.
Right. And so do you actually meet them most of the time? So do you show up in the morning and they're home and
Well, sometimes we have met our exchanges. Usually you kind of pick up the car at the airport, really.
so yeah, they've left the car. So they drove themselves to the airport, they left the car there, and you have a second key or something.
Yeah, or we put it under the wheel, or
All right, all right.
we've had like all these funny things where we found the keys for the car. Yeah, and you pick up the car and you drive to the home and you take it from there. And sometimes they will have pets and we take care of pets and they take care of our cat. Of course, they have to do that.
Like, what sort of pet do they even have? I mean, cats, I get it, but dogs too?
Yes, twice we've taken care of dogs in France and we've even taken care of chickens. That's the favorite. That's an absolute favorite of ours. And guinea pig ones, birds, rabbits, turtle even. Yes, all sorts of animals. That's great. When you're a family with kids, it's nice to do some pet sitting as well.
Right, it's like you just settle into their lives.
Yes.
Fascinating. And at the same time, they're settling into yours. So when you do it directly like that, that is kind of cool, I think, because it's a level of trust and it probably forces you to keep your house reasonably clutter free as well.
Yeah, it does. For me, it's important to have a clean house, and I, of course, expect that from my exchange partner. But then again, you get to clean your cupboards once a year.
Yes.
Otherwise, maybe you wouldn't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
You keep yourself kind of organized so that it's not too difficult to put some stuff away and give them some room. They don't expect you to empty the closets and all of that, but just to make some room for them, right?
Yeah, sure. We always keep one closet open for them to put their clothes in. But then again, if you have some valuables, you can, of course, put them somewhere safe that you would do if you rented out your house on Airbnb, for instance,
Exactly. Yeah.
which is the same thing. But the difference is that it's the money exchange, of course.
Right. Right. Yeah. And the website looks very much like Airbnb. Like I was just looking, I browsed a bit today because I knew we were recording this. It kind of looks like an Airbnb style of thing. You get to say where you want to go, and it's going to say the number of guest points per night.
Mm.
So some locations are obviously more expensive in quotes than others.
Yes.
So if you go to this fabulous big house somewhere, it's going to cost you more in guest points
Yes.
than a more simple apartment.
Yeah, sure, sure. And if it's by the beach or if it's like in a very sort of popular area, it may be a little bit more for the guest points. But in general, it's the size of the house that decide the number of guest points.
Right, and every time it says, 3 bedrooms, 4 beds, it doesn't typically say the number of bathrooms.
Yeah, I think you can see.
Oh, you can see that as well. I guess if you drill in, if you click on any of the
Yeah, because you can filter good. You always looked for pools. Kids were smaller and by the sea, basically.
right, so you like a place where you can yeah, so this one I'm looking at, it says it sleeps 6, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and it's 350 square meters, so that's a big property.
Yes.
So, there's all sorts, and there's also studios, and there's also,
Yeah.
all sorts of things on there. So, I'm really tempted to do this with my apartment in Spain because it's empty quite a bit of the year, as a matter of fact. But of course, in the middle of the summer, when people would want to go, it's usually family members that go. So,
No, but there's always a market. I mean, you have for a small apartment, maybe it would be a couple or a retired couple that's traveling. For instance, we currently have a Dutch couple in our home in Norway on guest points, and they are basically traveling around Europe with a van, staying with different places for guest points in different families, and they are doing a lot of hiking. So I left a lot of hiking tips for them.
right. I suppose as a homeowner, you get to decide, am I okay with this exchange or not, right? Do you get to talk to them before you decide? Like, so you get a request,
Mm.
you don't immediately approve it, you get to maybe talk to them on WhatsApp or something?
Yeah, sometimes we do that or we FaceTime them, but usually you get the feeling right away. And of course, it's the location and the dates that matter and the house, if it's suitable for a family or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we keep in touch on WhatsApp a lot, just for small things.
Do you get to review the people who came to stay at your place and they review you as well?
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's like Airbnb, you have a review system. So you will put out a review after the exchange has been gone through, you're done with it, and you can give stars. But usually, I mean, it's always a good experience. I would say 99% of the times.
Right. You haven't had a bad experience yourself yet.
No, I mean, we've had like small things. We have done this for 14 years, obviously. So we've had like a couple of minor issues. Once with the car, we entered into a little bit of an argument with the French couple over their car. But that's really something when you have done this many times that may occur. But I mean, it's a trust. You have a trust contract with someone. So we trust them, they trust us. And sometimes it can happen that trust is breached, but very, very rarely. I mean, if you break a glass, if you break something, you replace it.
Yeah.
We tend to break a wine glass or two every summer, and we just buy a new one, or we leave some euros for them to get a new glass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would assume people don't leave out their valuable prized glass collection. Like, you wouldn't do this. If you have things that are extraordinarily expensive in your home, which some people do, you would put them away in a locked closet or something.
Yes, yes. And if you're that afraid of your things, maybe home exchange isn't for you. Because,
That's true.
I mean, you really have to want to do this. You really have to want to engage in this community and engage in this type of doing your holiday.
Right, right. So, where in France have you been with home exchange? Do you remember all of them?
Oh, we've been traveling a little bit. We quite like to travel by bus or train in between the different places. We tend to stay maybe 4 weeks every summer
Oh, wow. That's a long time. Yeah.
because since we are doing this for free, I mean, it doesn't cost anything to rent a house or rent a car. So obviously it's for a family.
Yeah, that's a huge expense that you don't have to do. Like, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, and being a family of five, we have three girls. We could never afford to do this holiday in France if it wasn't for home exchange, of course. So, yeah, we've been to Brittany. That was the first year. And we've been to Paris. We've been to Bordeaux, Marseille, Montpellier, Arcachon. We've been to Béziers. Yeah, we've been the coastal areas.
Right, right, right. You go to the coast.
We stick to the coast. Yes, absolutely.
So the coast or a place with a swimming pool is what you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because we live basically on the North Pole, so we need to warm up during summer and get to swim.
I have to say it's so strange. We were in Norway in June and the sun wouldn't set until like 11:30 p.m.
Mm.
and then it would rise again at like 3:45 a.m.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
This is so bizarre for us. We are used to kind of this time of year, the sunrise is at 6:30 a.m., but it doesn't set until 9:30, 10 p.m. So you have a lot of sun. But over there, you have even more sun,
Yes.
which means that you're going to have even almost no sun in the winter.
Yeah, no, we do. We have the polar night, so it's basically dark for 2 months.
What is that like? Sorry, it's out of context, but I'm curious. What is that like? Just living in the dark for 2 months?
Yeah, you kind of hibernate, I guess, but still there's sunlight around noon, so you would have to, always go for a walk at noon because then you get some daylight.
Yes.
But in my experience, going to bed and getting up at the same time every day kind of gets you through it. You know, don't fall for the temptation of sleeping all day, all afternoon, because, it affects your body system, of course, with being dark for 2 months with no sun. But then again, in the summer, it's 24 hours of sun where I live. So,
Yes, it's amazing. You think it's 7 p.m. and it's already 10 p.m. You're like, oh,
yes. And you can go out and you can start cleaning your house at 11 and it's
it's unbelievable. So, what tips would you have for people who are considering maybe doing this? What should they think about? What's something that you've learned over the years, I guess?
yes. Well, you start with just signing up to a website. There are several to join, and then start taking pictures of your home as it looks like realistically. Maybe declutter it a little bit first so it looks nice, like you would on Airbnb.
Yeah, I think clutter is the enemy of this sort of exchange. If it's really a cluttered house,
Well, yeah, well, a little bit, but still, I mean, you do exchange with a home. So it's a home in all the ways that a home is.
right, right, right.
So sometimes you just, you get that along. It doesn't matter really. Most of the time you're out doing activities during the day anyway.
Yeah.
And then describe your home and describe a little bit where you want to go and what activities, what people that want to come to you can do in the area.
Uh huh.
Pictures of the area that you live in. And then after that, it's just relax and sit back and start traveling.
Right. Right. The homeexchange.com website, I don't know if they all do this, but they do give you some guest points the first year to get you started.
Yes.
So that you probably get, like they were saying, 500 guest points just awarded to you for starting. And so that most places that will get you 3, 4 nights, places I've looked at, it will get you 3, 4 nights. And it's a good way to, get started, see, how you like it.
Yeah, exactly. Just start and, just dare to do it, I would say. You get hang of it after a few exchanges. It's good to be flexible. I mean, it's good if you're a flexible person and open. Yeah, open and flexible, I would say, would be some traits.
So I hope this is not going to sound awful, but some of the people we've had in our home for my house, so this is a pet sitting kind of situation. But it ends up being the same thing. They come to your home and they stay there and they take care of your pets and your garden for however many days. And a couple of the ones we've had were what I would call odd ducks. Their personality were a little bit quirky, but they were fine. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do, which was to take care of the dogs and to, you know, keep the house in reasonable shape. But their personalities were a bit quirky because we usually spend a day with them. This is something that's different. Is we ask them to come a day early so that I can show them around and probably just see their reaction with the dog and how they interact and stuff like that. And maybe I don't have to do this, but I tend to like to do this. With a home exchange, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, or you would maybe you sometimes we've met them as well, and my friend have met their home exchanges too, because obviously all my friends do this as well. And I mean, we've become friends with this Spanish woman that we exchanged with. She came back to see us the year after, actually, and we came back to see her in Spain as well. So, I mean, you get to know people even though you don't often meet them either. And the chances are that they are quite similar to yourself because you would like the same things in a way because you exchange with a family and they want to go to where you live. So obviously you will kind of have the same interests. So the people wouldn't be that different from yourselves, I would say.
Wow. Okay. So you've met people from all different sorts of all kinds of countries, mostly Europeans, I guess. Have you ever done this with US people?
No, I haven't. I haven't done it in the US, but that's just because it's just been a too long travel for us. But we've had quite a few inquiries from the US, and my friend, she went to New York with her family for a week on home exchange.
Wow.
And we've had inquiries from different places in the US. And some of my friends, they've been to South Africa and to Australia as well. So really it's big, all over the world, I would say.
Wow. Wow. And typically, the people that you exchange with, do you get the feeling that they are of the same kind of social, economic kind of group?
Yes, sort of, because at least they will always have children because
Right.
so far we've exchanged with people with kids.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, I guess it's kind of the same. Well, at least people who like to travel and explore and being open and trustful and flexible,
Right.
I would say it's more of the general trait than more than the socioeconomical status, I would say. But
Right. And probably it's good if you prepare kind of some written down notes about your house and
yes, I mean, it's like you feed the cat like this, and here is the Wi-Fi. But I guess, I mean, the honey hole or the treasure in this system is the personal recommendations. Because basically, you get a tailored holiday. Because the families will always leave a lot of recommendations what to do in the area. So you don't have to use TripAdvisor or anything else. You just, you do what they recommend. And that's always, always top class.
right.
I mean, obviously, they will like to do the same things as you do.
Right. They have kids your age, probably. And I mean, if you're offering a house with, two kids' bedrooms or three kids' bedrooms, then maybe they're coming with two or three kids.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, our first exchange in Bretagne, that was amazing because we hadn't done this before. We were driving 6 hours from Charles de Gaulle. We came there late at night and they had like a big room full of toys, a princess room full of toys. And that was, I mean, a dream for a parent because that meant, you can have a glass of wine in the evening and your kids will have a room to play in. And you get that if you rent like a random place in France.
Right, right.
So you come to a home. And the best thing as well is coming back to the home after a full day of activities. You just, sit on the porch, open a bottle of wine, relax. And that's what holiday is about, isn't it?
Right, right. No, it is. And also, you get access to the kitchen. You can cook your own things.
Yeah. And then you will always, I mean, we always leave a welcome gift for our exchanges, and we always get that as well. It's always a bottle of wine, or it's like last year's, we got a lemon pie waiting for us when we came to Arcachon.
Yes.
And maybe we'll leave some local beer or some local produce. You feel welcome when you arrive in a home.
So I assume you empty your fridge or mostly empty your fridge. I mean, you might have a bottle of ketchup and whatever. You're not going to leave your leftovers or whatever. You gotta,
No, no, no. You kind of tidy your fridge. Yes.
yeah, it makes sense. You leave it nice and clean so they can just settle in and enjoy the place. Have you made friends? So you mentioned that you did make a friend with this Spanish lady. Anybody else that you've become friends with as a result?
Yeah, well, I mean, we keep in touch with people like we're in Denmark at the moment, and we were there last year, and this family messaged me again and asked if we wanted to come back, which we did. So we are in the same house as we were in last year. We have been keeping close contact with Natalie, who has a house in Arcachon, or La Teste Bush, which is a little bit outside of Arcachon.
Right. Very close to Arcachon, yeah.
And she was just this lovely couple, retired couple, and I mean, they left us a lemon pie, and she had made tote bags for all the girls. We were chatting, and she was sending pictures of all the birds that the cat dragged in, our cats dragged in. Yeah, so we kept closely contact with her, and I see myself coming back there actually.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's fantastic. I really like that aspect of it that, it's human. It really feels like it's almost like you're going to stay at a friend's house while they're on vacation. Almost,
Yeah, it is. And we send each other pictures and small things, you just send a quick message on WhatsApp, is there a flea market? Do you know if there's a flea market around here? And yeah, so you keep in close touch with people. And another thing I want to point out is that there's always something interesting culturally happening in France, no matter where you are. So you will always find an activity within an hour of where you're staying. That's interesting for the whole family.
Right. And they can let you know, oh, next weekend is this or that festival or, yeah.
Exactly. And there's a picnic. There's a picnic and everyone is wearing white. Join the picnic. I mean, we've been to lots of activities that we wouldn't know of if it wasn't for their local recommendations.
Right.
Like one year we went to this that was in Languedoc outside of Montpellier. Like it was a picnic at night with a lighting show near a Roman bridge.
Wow.
So that was so much fun, really late at night. But we wouldn't have never known about that if it wasn't for the home exchange.
Exactly. These people told you about it. And I assume since you sometimes get to use the people's car, maybe you can also use their bicycles if they have any?
Yes, absolutely. Most families do leave their bicycles like we do. And last year we had a wonderful cycling trip to Les Dunes de Pilar, for instance, with the bikes.
And there's a very nice bike path to take you. Yeah, that's a particularly good one. Yeah.
It is absolutely, yeah.
Well, fantastic. So, how do you choose where to go next? Is it what's available? You know your vacation time, and so you start poking around? Is that how you do it?
Yes, we do that. And we usually tend to agree on where around Christmas time we know where we're going for the next summer. But we kind of like, I mean, we do really like the Languedoc area and the Bordeaux Atlantic coast area and Brittany. I mean, we've been to Le Côte d'Azur, but we're not like big fans of the area. We quite like the Atlantic side, I guess.
Yes, yes. Côte d'Azur is it's a different world, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's a little bit intense.
Yes, it's intense. It's not as relaxing because there's so many people, it's so packed in. It doesn't feel relaxing to me, but
No, no. It's very hot as well, and it's not much space on the beach.
yeah, yeah, yeah. On the beach, everybody's packed in. So
And this year we were like, "Oh, where do we wanna go?" And then we were like, "Oh, maybe we'll go back to Brittany because we had a great time there 14 years ago." And then this family approached us from Paimpol, which is like a small village around Saint-Brieuc area.
right. So it's like north and west of Brittany, of the Breton coast. Yeah.
Exactly. And after a little bit back and forth, we agreed with exchanging with them. So we're going there on Monday, 4th of July, 14th of July, actually. Bastille Day.
Bastille Day. Yes, yes, yes. Very nice. And I assume you can ask questions about the, I mean, like if you're interested in a listing, you can start texting back and forth with the people or sending messages back and forth.
And it's always, of course, an advantage if they have done it before, because then it's more kind of, they know the drill. But it's not necessary. We've changed with people that never done it before as well.
Yeah. How do you handle the key? Like, so you leave the key somewhere safe?
Well, we have a key box, so that's what we do. But sometimes you pick it up at the neighbors as well, or under the mat, or yeah. Then you get to chat with the neighbors as well and get to know them. So that's nice.
Yeah, and they're definitely expecting you. Like, if I gave my key to one of my neighbors, I would let them know why I'm giving them the key. They would be totally expecting somebody new to show up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a kind of, you exchange life a little bit as well. You know, you live someone else's life somewhere else, or you kind of get to feel how it is to live in another country or to live somewhere else because you kind of do the everyday things. You take out the trash every week and chat to the neighbors, you fix the garden, or you deal with the pool. I mean, once we had a dead hedgehog in the pool and we had to deal with that. And you water the plants and
That is why I always leave water out in my yard so they don't go drowning in people's pools because it happens a lot in southern France. People have pools. You have this vast amount of water, and the animals are really thirsty and they try to drink out of it and they drown in it. Even most birds cannot drink out of a swimming pool, bathe in a swimming pool. They need a shallow place. Anyway, that's the southern France stuff. So I have like places with shallow dishes of water that I empty, that I clean out, that I don't let mosquitoes multiply in there either.
mm,
But yeah, dead hedgehogs. Oh, that's sad.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, but it's like the local experience, living like a local.
Yeah,
People dream about living like a local, and this is a very effective way, I would say, to live like a local.
to live like a local. Absolutely. Do you clean before you leave? Is that part of the deal? Or do you hire someone to come?
No, we just clean ourselves.
Okay. And sheets and stuff, do you try to replace the sheets or do you just put them in a hamper and then they will?
Yeah, you just put them near the washing machine.
Yeah, right. And then
But we always try to lay the sheets for the people arriving, of course.
right, right. So they get clean sheets because you've had time to do it. But when you're leaving that day, you don't have time to wait for the laundry to wash and dry. Exactly. Yeah.
No, no, no. So you just agree on these things on beforehand.
Right, right. Yeah, this is kind of nitpicky, but I'm curious how you handle these
Yeah.
things. Like, do you have a cleaning? Is there a cleaning fee? Is the question really?
No.
There's
No.
not.
Mm-mm. You just clean and then you leave. And of course, leave it like it was when you arrived.
Yes, yes, yes. And as someone I've loaned my apartment to members of the family many, many times, and I know exactly which ones are clean freaks and which ones are not. I'm part of the ones who is not, so it's
Yeah.
okay. But if it's my sister or my sister-in-law, oh, they just go cleaning places. I'm like, huh,
Okay.
it's nicer this way. It's true.
Mm. Yeah. No, that's not a big stress moment, I would
Yeah, yeah. You just clean it like it was your house.
But yeah, I was just going to tell a little anecdote about the really living like a local experience because we exchanged a couple of years ago in the Montpellier area or the Languedoc. It was a tiny village called Aume. I mean, it was so tiny, it didn't even have a boulangerie, which is, that's sad.
Yeah, is it HOM?
Aumes.
Okay, not the same one. Okay.
Yeah. And we stayed in a really nice house with pool and the mother or the grandmother of the family. She stayed next door and she was actually picking us up at the airport and showing us the best oyster booths and really attending to us while we were there.
Nice.
And then my daughter had a really serious ear infection. So we had to find a doctor and she helped us find a doctor. And we went there, she got antibiotics. And then the next day we were walking the dog because we were taking care of a dog. And, on the other side of the village, this woman calls me from a garden and, calling me loudly saying, "How is your daughter's ear infection going?" And I was like, "What? Do you? No, I don't." But
Yes.
so we were part of the village gossip that was spread all over the village the next day.
Oh, it's not nasty gossip. That's
No, no, it's just funny.
it's like, oh, the poor kid got an ear infection on her vacation. That's not fun.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun. Mm.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, again, I want to state if we sound like we're an advertisement, we're not. This is not an ad. This is just reality. Because I'm thinking of several people I've had on the podcast who were interested in really, you know, being like a local. I assume, oh, this is a question I should have asked you sooner. How many days do you typically stay in one place?
Yeah, well, we tend to stay for 2 weeks, I guess, with the kids. But really, it's sometimes, I mean, if you go to Paris, maybe 3 days. But typically, people will allow for guest points exchange for minimum 7 days, maybe.
Okay, okay. So when you list your place, you can say the minimum amount of days that you will. Okay, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, because that's another thing. Some of the people I talk to, they don't stay that long.
No, no.
They will just stay, 2, 3 nights and move on.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you can find home exchange for 2 or 3 nights.
Right. They will limit your choices.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would recommend to stay a little bit longer at the staycation, explore the local area.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's ideal for people who stay, 5 days a week maybe, because I think if you stay less than 5 days, you really have the most fleeting of impressions of the area,
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's a teeny tiny village where there's really nothing much. But even a teeny tiny village, there might be a glorious hike you could take or a great bike ride or, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They will always have a gathering of some sort at some point while you're
Yes.
there.
Fantastic. All right, Mali, you have been wonderful to talk to. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
And I'm going to sign up. I'm going to do it with my apartment in Villanova because, and who knows, I might do it for my house, for my main residence as well, because, and I assume you can list more than one place.
Yes, absolutely. You can have your second home, and a lot of French, offer their second home as well.
Well, yeah, because I mean, truly, we have a lot of people who have a secondary residence in a place where they only go a few weeks out of the year, and they would probably list it with fairly low guest points
Yeah.
the rest of the year. And I assume the number of guest points is it steady all year, or do you have to? Can you adjust it?
No, no, it's steady. It's steady all year, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, I'm going with my daughter that's 14, this autumn to Paris because she's learning French and she really wanted to go there with her friend and her mother. So we're all going there for only 3 days, actually. But then I managed to get a home exchange place for guest points in Marais in Paris, a big apartment.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's just like, it's a golden treasure because you wouldn't never ever, we could never afford to go there to Paris, to that area for 3 days without this system. So it's a big secret that more people should know about.
Yes, and the website Home Exchange just makes money on the yearly fee that you pay. They don't get a cut, right? They don't.
No, I don't think so.
You just pay them a fee to be a member of the website.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a voluntarily member community because I think you can chat with members of the community. They're not working in the administration. It's just other members that signed up for being a volunteer.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, and then you can chat with them and ask and
Huh. So it's not like a big company, a big for-profit company. It's,
no, I don't think so.
yeah. I mean, there are probably some full-time people working there because just to keep a website like that operating, you would have to have some paid staff, I'm sure,
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
but not but not a ton. Yeah. It's not Airbnb size, which
No.
have hundreds of probably thousands of employees and are working very hard to rank super well on Google search and all of that.
Yeah, no.
If you go looking for them, you find them. If you don't, you don't. Kind of like my podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go looking for it, you find it.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Exactly. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Mali, and have a wonderful vacation and
Thank you, Annie.
keep in touch. I will probably email you. Once I've done my first home exchange, I will email you and let you know how it went.
Yes. Yeah, and you can find me on WhatsApp as well, and yeah, just ask me anything.
Thank you very much, Mali, and talk to you one of these days.
See you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Again, I want to thank my patrons for giving back and supporting the show. Patrons get several exclusive rewards for doing that. You can see them at patreon.com/join us. Patreon, join us, no spaces or dashes. And a special shout out this week to my new Join Us in French champions, Brooke Koss, Jenny Ducoin, Nancy Hackney, and Alex Mojica. And thank you, April Abati Adams, for editing your pledge up. Would you join them too? You can do it for as little as $3 a month, but if you can afford it, I would love to have you pledge more so you can access more of the rewards. And to support Elise, go to patreon.com/EliseArt, ELYSART. This is where I tell you what rewards I've published this week, but I was traveling the last 12 days and I had very long days, every day, 14-hour day kind of things. So by the time I got back to the apartment at night, all I wanted to do was just have something warm to drink and hit the sack. So I've been unusually quiet on Patreon, but I'm back and I will get chatty very soon. Somebody who's clearly a podcast listener left this review of one of my voice map tours. I enjoyed a relaxed, informative, fun tour of the Marais on a beautiful Saturday in October. This was my very first voice map tour, and I'll definitely be back, especially for any of Annie's tours. I simply put in one earbud, put my phone in my pocket, and off I went. I paused the tour twice, once so I could go into the Carnavalet Museum, and then again for the National Archives. I loved that I could do this, simply pick back up where I left off. I also really appreciate that Annie brought me to places that I would likely have missed otherwise. For instance, I had no intention of seeking out the National Archives, but there I was, so I went in, and that was great. They were running a special Victor Hugo exhibit, and I had just seen his house on Annie's tour, and I also saw the table that the wounded Robespierre lay on while awaiting his execution. I had specifically gone into the Carnavalet to see the French Revolution exhibit, so the fact that I then stumbled onto this table at the National Archives was one of those full circle travel moments that I love. Annie's directions throughout the tour were very clear. I got turned around one time after popping into a church along the route, but I quickly realized my mistake, looked at the map on my phone. This was the only time I needed to look, and got back on the route. The information was fun and informative. Thank you, Annie, for the wonderful tour. I'll be back. Well, thank you so much for leaving such a detailed review. That was really great. I've visited several French cities for the first time the last couple of weeks, some fairly big, some small. And how I wish I could have bought a voice map tour for these places or any GPS self-guided tour. As a matter of fact, it doesn't have to be voice map. There are many brands that do this. None of these places had one. It would have made my life so easy. So when you can't buy a voice map tour or a GPS guided tour, you go to the tourist office and they give you a map. All right. What's wrong with a map? Well, first of all, these maps don't work. Like you look like a dork walking around with a map. I tried it. I still don't like it. The map tears up very quickly. You can't read what it says, like point number 12. What was the explanation on point number 12? It's just, you don't know if you're supposed to go left or right next. You don't know where anything is. It's a new place. Like, how would you know? So the GPS really takes care of all this stuff. So next best thing is, of course, you could get a tour, organized tour by the city center, by the tourist office, I mean. Well, the thing is, good luck finding one, because in those places where I went, of course, this was late November, early December, none of them had a tour. And if they did, it would be like at 2 p.m. on a Saturday or something. Like, what are the odds that I'm going to be there right when they have the tour? So you can't really count on a live tour guide all the time. The maps are lousy. But you know what's worse? It's not having a map, because then you walk around, you miss half of the good stuff. So you end up just needing a map. So bottom line is, the GPS can guide you to all these places, and it's a really precious tool that's underutilized. Now, I know for a fact that pretty soon Google is going to say, oh, I'll give you a walking tour for free. And you know where they're going to take you? Think about it for half a second. Yeah, to places that they get money from, okay? Having a human write a tour where they decide what are the places of interest is really very, very nice. And it takes a long time to develop a good GPS tour. I've done several. It takes at least 2 weeks, and that's if you know the area, if you know the history. So it's difficult. So I understand that not every place has it. I know you're going to say, oh, why don't you write them all? Yeah, I might write a few more, but it's difficult to cover it all. So more people need to write those tours. And podcast listeners get an exclusive discount when they buy directly from my website. That way more of the money goes to me instead of Apple or Google. So go to joinusinfrance.com/boutique to see that offer. And if you're planning a trip to France and you would like some expert help, you can hire me as your itinerary consultant. If you already have a plan, I can help you fine-tune it. And if you're just overwhelmed by all the choices and you're not sure what resources to trust, I can design a custom plan for you. And again, that's at joinusinfrance.com/boutique. It's wonderful to be home and back at my desk recording this introduction. I was on the go for 12 days and now I feel like I can relax. So let me tell you about my home exchange experience and the apartments that I borrowed in Poitiers, which was very nice, in Rouen. The bathroom here, oof. In Paris, I had problems with that one. And Vichy, which was the perfect exchange. Yeah, I need to explain to you that on home exchange, there are a lot of things that you can select. The filters are very important. One of the things you can select is whether you want to stay at somebody's primary residence, which means it's their home. If you come stay, they will go live somewhere else for a few days, which is what happened in 2 of my exchanges. No, actually 3 of my exchanges. That happened in Rouen, where the guy went to stay with his girlfriend, who lived nearby. He was quite happy with that. The second one was in Paris, where he went to stay with his parents, and he was very stressed about that. And the third one, she went to stay with her boyfriend as well. Seemed like she was fine doing that. The very first one I did was a secondary residence where they live upstairs and they have a basement apartment below them. And of course, the basement apartment is not ideal because, you don't get all the light, blah, blah, blah. But I wasn't there during the day anyway. So It really didn't matter to me. And I saw them. I barely heard them. She told me a couple of times when we checked in that the installation was not great, but they were very discreet. Man, these people, I don't know, they walk on air or something. So that was a wonderful place as well. And I've realized that I prefer the secondary residence kind of situation because it's set up for visitors. It's usually got its own key box and, it's a better setup as far as that's concerned. So are these places nice? Like I just told you about the one in Poitiers, that was great. I showed up, the guy had a Tesla in his driveway and he was a driving instructor in a Tesla. So that was great for us to chat because I was a driving instructor eons ago for 1 year and things have not gotten any better in that profession, it seems. He also had some solar panels in his backyard and he was using them for his own needs, power needs during the day, which is something I want to do. So it was really interesting to chat with him about that. The second place in Poitiers, the gentleman was very, very friendly, very nice. But his small apartment, it was very dark. It was so dark that I had brought a headlamp because I didn't know if I was going to, where I was going to walk late at night or whatever. And I had to use the headlamp in the apartment to find something that I dropped because it was just really dark. So that one was okay, but not ideal. The bathroom was really small, like too small for me. The third place in Paris, I really had a problem with because it said when I booked it, it said that it had a washer and dryer. And by then I was halfway through my trip. I was planning to use the washer and dryer. And when I got there, he sent me a link to a web page he had developed with the house rules kind of things, which is good. But there it said, don't use the washer, which is a washer dryer combo. And I was like, dang it. So I had to hand wash my stuff. I didn't call him to argue with him. I was like, I just didn't want to mess with it. And also that apartment hadn't been touched since the 70s. So, in France, we have places that have old furniture and things that are very quaint and very charming. This was not it. This was broken shit from the 70s. And it was my fault because I should have booked. There was another apartment a little further out from Paris. It was twice as much in terms of guest points and it looked nicer on the photos. And I thought, it'll do. No, the one in Paris I would never recommend to anybody. And this leads me to the next point. But I should say that the one in Vichy was excellent. That was the perfect exchange. This young lady, an art teacher, she just welcomed me. I arrived kind of late. It was 9:20 or something. I arrived late and she was waiting for me. She had a key box, but she said, I prefer to welcome people myself, which is a very nice thing to do. And she was charming and she showed me around. Of course, most things were known to me, like it's a French house. I'm used to how French houses work. We have some oddities in France in our houses, but I was used to them, so it wasn't a problem. One of the things I want to bring up is that it's hard to leave a harsh review when you've met the people and when you've stayed at their home, like when you slept in their bed kind of thing. That's why most places end up with 4 or 5 stars. So it's like all the children are equally intelligent, right? No, that's not reality. If you ask the parents, yes, but no, they're not. And so it's the same with apartments. Don't go too much by the stars. They don't mean much. In the future, I would more like go by the price, go by the photos, be very, very picky about the photos. If it looks like a student apartment, that's probably what it is. And people don't want to leave. They don't want to be harsh in their reviews. They want to be kind. And all of these people were kind to me. So I want to be kind back. But the one in Paris, I really didn't like. The guy's idea of clean was not my idea of clean. Like, oh, no. I almost left. To tell you the truth, after the first night, I almost left. But I thought, it's going to be a lot of trouble. I'm only here for a few days and I've got a very packed. I had things to do on Friday. I arrived on Wednesday night. Thursday, we had things planned. I had things planned. I was like, I don't want to mess with finding another place. And so I stayed, but I didn't like it. But then I went to Poitiers and that was lovely. So what am I going to do different next time I book a home exchange? Because I was traveling by car, I should have searched over a broader area. Instead of saying Rouen, I should have searched for places in the Seine-Maritime department or the Vienne department for Poitiers or Allier department for Vichy. Or perhaps just use the map and zoom in on a general area where you want to stop. That shows you a lot more possibilities rather than just show me Poitiers. That's it. That's all I want to see. If it's on the other side of the road, different town, it's not going to show it to you. Also, I was thinking I'd park the car and take public transportation. But really, that was silly because I don't do that at home where I could. So why did I think I was going to do it anywhere else? Of course, I was going to get in my car, go into the city center. I did do some research about where to park in city centers. I always do that. But then I just drove to those parking lots, either underground or above ground. But I paid for parking somewhere in the city center or parked on the street a couple of times, actually. I got lucky. The other thing I would do differently is I would pick one area and explore that for the week. I would not try to do this as an itinerant trip, like 2 nights here, then move on 2 nights there, and move on 2 nights there. That doesn't work with home exchange, I don't think. You would do much better to do 3 nights minimum, and a week is better. Because many homeowners don't really want to mess with someone who just wants to stay for 1 or 2 nights because it's too much work getting the place ready every time and cleaning it up afterwards and whatever. The other advice I would have for you is learn how to use the home exchange filters very well. Be more picky about amenities than about geographical place. That's an important one. For me, I should have picked places where I could charge my car overnight because it just makes my life easier. I actually like charging my car at the grocery store while I stop or on the freeway or whatever. But I don't need to shop every night, and I certainly don't need to go on the freeway every day. So having a plug where I sleep is a big plus, and I've gotten spoiled at home where that's what I do. So that would have been an important thing. But for you, it's going to be something different. Pay attention to the amenities more than the exact place. I really like platforms that let me filter for a specific amenity. That's why I like Booking.com better than Airbnb. On Booking, you can specify on the left-hand panel, you can specify what you want. And on Airbnb, they just show you what they want to sell. So it's a big difference, and I prefer the filters. Home exchange is not like a hotel. A hotel manager or investor, they look for places that are well-traveled and will fetch a high price per night. Whereas home buyers who end up doing home exchanges, they look for nice places to live at a reasonable price. So be prepared to be a little further from the city center for a good, value to nice ratio. And in cities like Paris, you'll use up more guest points just like you'd pay more for a hotel if you were using money. Don't try to go cheap in Paris, which is what I did, and I really shouldn't have. I won't do that ever again. Price matters. I thought I'm traveling by myself. I can book a studio or a 1-bedroom apartment. It's good enough, right? After all, when I got married, all we could afford was a studio, and we lived there for a year or two, I can't remember. It was great to be young. It turns out I don't like studios anymore. Everything is tiny. The amenities are minimal. No desks, 1 chair, 1 bed. No, not for me anymore. When I was younger, it was fine, but not now. Think about what you need and what you want. And if you want to list a place of your own, which I'm glad I did because I've had nothing but good experiences with the people who've stayed at my place. And I have a person that I trust who goes after them and sends me photos and does a cleanup and all that. And it's always been great. So if you want to list a place of your own, and again, this is not an ad or a sponsorship, realize that it will take a few weeks, perhaps a couple of months before anyone will see the property and rent it from you. Be patient, tweak your listing if necessary, and then ask for reviews if the people don't leave one after a few days of staying at your place. Overall, it was a great experience. I will continue to do it, but I will just stay longer. I will stay 1 week. And I won't use it like a kind of move on sort of place. My thanks to podcast editors Anne and Christian Conovan, who produced the transcripts. Next week on the podcast, an episode with Elise about Charles de Gaulle. I know you've heard about Charles de Gaulle, obviously, but wait until you hear what Elise has to say. She has a really nice take on him. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you join me next time so we can look around France together. Au revoir. The Join Us in France Travel Podcast is written, hosted, and produced by Annie Sargent and copyright 2025 by Addicted to France. It is released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license.